Well, welcome everybody to the Denver Bronco Roundup. Broncos country, welcome in, man. We're in here, brought to you by Rocky Mountain Sports Network, sponsored by the amazing Morgan Trinkets. In here, Friday night, talking about what I thought was going to be a win. And I don't know how you all feel, but honestly, probably one of the most disappointing losses I've had in quite some time. One of those times where I'm just, I don't know, devastated a little bit. Trevor Salzman. My name is Keith Brugman. I'm not going to be alone here. I got my good friend Trevor Salzman, the Rocket Man Salzman, along, and I got the entire posse all lined up, dropping some comments already. We're going to get to you in just a moment, but I got to welcome my good friend Trevor. How are you doing this evening, sir?
Doing well. It was a tough loss, Keith, and I feel for Broncos country. I know I predicted a loss, and it's something that honestly I don't want to happen. It's just,
Yeah,
man, that Chargers team's better than I think what some give credit for. And Justin Herbert, really picked that part of that zone defense, and it was just shambles all the way around. Just wasn't clean football. And when you play playoff teams like that, it's got to be much cleaner from a penalty side of things, from a coaching style, and being prepared for that game. So many different things we'll talk about tonight. But I feel for Broncos country, and do not give up. This loss can't bring this team down too much. You have two very winnable games going forward that can get you in the playoffs. And so of course it's tough on this loss against the Chargers, but be encouraged, because the season is far from over. And just keep your head up. That's what I would say.
man, coming in here with more optimism than me, which is kind of a little crazy, man. A little crazy. So not used to that. I honestly, man, this kind of broke me a little bit, bud, but not breaking me is the posse, man. Posse's coming in here. They're strong. And and got to get to them right off the bat. Paul's coming in first and foremost, and he just, hey, perfect segue. He says, RMSN win. Day late, buck short. I think we're going to the playoffs, and I believe the Broncos can beat the Bills. Moss should be back next Saturday. So a little bit of more optimism there. But if you caught the very beginning of that, this is the perfect segue. I got to get this out of the way. We don't have giveaways all that often, but we've got a fantastic one that we got going on. We started Tuesday. We're going through Friday, and we'll be giving it away after Tuesday's show. So you have 3 different podcasts to get entered: Tuesday, Friday, Tuesday. Right now we're on Friday. You'll have Tuesday as well. How do you get entered? Well, Paul put it right there at the very, very beginning. You put RMSN win. RMSN win gets you entered. Now, if you're over on Facebook, it's the only place that we can receive any type of gratuity that you guys wish to give us. And you give us 100 stars and you put RMSN win. Hey, that's going to go ahead and that's going to get you 3 entries for every 100 stars that you put in there. I'm going to get a tally here really quick of what we got going on. Remember, it only takes 1 to win. We're going to put all your names in, all the entries in, big old hat, something, pull your names out. We'll figure it out. What I think is the number 1 prize. This is from Bighorn Autographs. If you guys are looking for some amazing, fantastic Denver Nuggets, Denver Broncos, Denver sports autographed memorabilia, check out Bighorn Autographs. This one here is one Patrick Surtain II signed jersey. I think this is prize number 1. RMSN win. That'll get you started right there. RMSN win. If you get that, again, if you go ahead and you say $100, or I'm saying 100 stars tagged in with that, again, that gets you 3 entries. Couple other things I do have, and I'm trying to dig them out. I'm sorry, real quick, Trevor. This is from 2023. This is a training camp memorabilia piece. Alex Forsyth, DJ Jones, those are the big names on there, but you got about 7-8 names on there, all signed by Denver Broncos players. And then last but not least, the Duke himself, one John Elway action figure. So we'll draw 3 names. Again, you have this episode and Tuesday's episode to get entered and appreciate you guys so much. It's just our way of giving back a little bit. But hey, I got to get back here really quick to the comment that started it all right here with Paul, though. He thinks that we should believe. He thinks that we can get another win, and he thinks we can beat the Bills, man. You talked it a little bit. I know this is getting the cart in front of the horse a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit more about the game, but you have optimism for the next couple of games, Trevor.
Yeah, I mean, you have a Cincinnati team coming up next Saturday. Again, elite offense with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. That defense is atrocious, though. Denver's offense should be able to get up and down the field against that that Bengals defense. I would say for me, but you don't want to get in a scoring battle with Joe Burrow, obviously. But I think. You have the Chiefs coming up. We'll see if they win this weekend. If they win this weekend, then I think they may sit their starters. I'm not looking forward to the Chiefs game. I'm looking forward to the Bengals game and taking care of business in Cincinnati. I'm not even letting your chance of making the playoffs get down to the stretch run against the Chiefs and then go from there. But I don't like talking way in the future, because you just never know in the NFL. Anything can happen, and I think I'm a firm believer that you got to take care of business in front of you. And last night's game, it's going to be a tough one. It was a tough loss. That was a very winnable game. And it seemed like every time, you had a lead or something, you shot yourself in the foot when it came to, penalties and whatnot. That just can't happen. And it's a tough loss. But again, this team is going to have a while to sit on this loss and learn from it. Watch the film, get ready for Cincinnati. It starts with taking care of Cincinnati first and foremost on the road, and then looking forward from there. But we'll see what happens with the Bills and how the playoff seeding ends up finalizing out in the weeks to come.
Yeah. We got a little bit of time in front of us. We got some games in front of us. As Scott's coming in here and saying we got to beat Cincy first. And absolutely, that's what we got in front of us, man. That's the next game. That's where we got to be looking. Can't be looking. Got to look at that tape. Got to figure out where we've been, what we did wrong. We'll be talking more about that. I got to get through the comments, though. It's you guys are just blowing it up. Got to figure out where we've been, what we did wrong. We got to start correcting some things and getting some things figured out. And we got to get a win here, hopefully, versus Cincinnati. We need to start looking forward and really start planning for that. That's coming up once again quite quickly. we had that happen last week. We're having it happen again this week, a little bit quicker than most other teams. I just really quickly, Trevor, I did want to say I wanted to get to it totals really quick off of last night's last podcast, not last night's. I was back on Tuesday. We had Phil that dropped 1,900 stars in total. That gets him 3 entries per the 1,900. We're looking at 57 entries right there. Michael gave 1,100 stars. That gives him 33. Patrick I had down with 100 stars. So that gives him 3. And then I had Kurt, Kenny, Jeremy, Clayton, Graham, Scott, Karen, Martin, and Paul. You are all already entered into the drawing as well. Additional entries, if you're any of those names, if you drop 100 stars, you can get it in, but we're only doing 1 entry each time that you put RMSN wins per person, unless you're dropping stars, and we'll get you a few extra entries that way, but it only takes one. Ernie May is coming in and saying, hello, Charger fan Trevor, and go Broncos country only, Bo Nix for 6. Graham's coming in saying, smash that like button. Absolutely, Graham. Graham's a good friend of ours. Knowing Graham, he's been around for quite some time. He's over there on the K&K Sports Show doing all that behind the scenes work, which is a lot, and rocking it over there. Check out the K&K Sports Show. Roy is coming in saying, hey there, Horseman and the posse. Not too much good to say about the Broncos except the first quarter and a half. Trevor called the loss, and he was correct, says Scott Sigley. Danielle Miller, are we worried about the future of VJ? Now, this could be taken a couple of different ways, Trevor. I'm going to rewind it just a little bit. We'll get to Danielle here in just a second. Maybe we'll go back to Roy here. Because let's talk about that first half, that first quarter, that first half, the way that we came out of the blocks. This is why I was disappointed, because that was looking like a game that was completely in our control, Trevor. Completely in control. Talk about even the run game. The run game, Trevor. We were rotating, I don't know how many running backs at one point. So many that Al Michaels couldn't keep up with the first one we had out there, but that's okay. That's okay. That was Audric Estime. That wasn't Javante. That's okay. We had everybody in there, man, and it was looking good. Trevor, talk about it, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, offensively, you were looking good. I thought Sean Payton did a great job of balancing things out when it came to the run game, the passing game. Much better job than he did in the second half. My gosh, I mean, it was one of those things where like you got a chance to see what this offense may look like when you have a balanced attack. Even though you're not going to get a 5-yard run every single time you run the football, it's just not always going to happen. Defense will adjust. You have to find new creative ways to get those yardage upfield and really push the ball forward offensively when it comes to running the football. But yeah, I mean, I thought this offense did a much better job, of just moving the ball. And defensively, I think defensively from the start, they were just not very good in coverage. Ladd McConkey was continuing to get open downfield, and Justin Stronad, Cody Barton, just those two in particular, just weren't great in coverage at all. That's was very disheartening to see, and hopefully they can bounce back from that. But I thought the defense struggled from the get go. I really did. And I know they got a couple defensive stops. Justin Herbert missed a couple throws downfield, but the defensively from the start just wasn't very good. Offensively, you had something going for you, and then the second half, you had none of it going for you.
Yeah, and Phil's coming in. He's dropping those 100 stars, and he says, "Good evening, Keith and Rocket Man. Great first half, then no adjustments." Now, I will say defensively, I think that's absolutely true. I saw very little adjustments. We did try to bring a little bit more pressure. I did see a little bit more blitzing. The problem was, man, we weren't really getting home. Let's face it, they went out and they got 2 all-pro tackles, possibly. If you're going to beat them, you'll have to beat them at the middle. That means that Malcolm Roach and DJ Jones were going to have to eat. That means if a linebacker blitzing up the middle, aka a Sternad or Barton, they had to get home. And we didn't see those names being called out left, right, and otherwise, roughing up one Justin Herbert, And honestly, when we look at some of the Edge was not that great. He was able to roll out too much. He's for a guy that was injured and had ankle injuries, the amount of rollouts and rushing yardage that we saw from Justin Herbert was not great. I don't know why there's not the faith from Vance Joseph to play man without Riley Moss. I understand that Riley Moss does make a difference, but he is refusing to do so regardless of the situation. There was a podcast that was out just a couple of weeks ago talking about when to play zone, when to play man. You play man when you think that guy has the ability to beat you with his arm. You play zone when you think he has the ability to turn the ball over. We should have been playing man last night. Simple as that. Justin Herbert is the type of guy that you match up man because he'll pick you apart if you're playing in zone. I didn't see those adjustments. Now, on the other side, Phil, I saw the adjustments galore on the offense. We went away from running the ball. We went away from, making sure that we stayed, on schedule, that we were doing, just everything. Everything fell apart. It seemed like we just went to passing the ball exclusively. It was like, to me, it felt like Sean went out there and said, well, I proved it in the first half. We can run the ball, everybody. So I don't have to do that anymore. I've already proved that. Now I can do whatever I want. And I want to throw the ball around a lot more and do really bad things as far as the game is concerned, calling the game and the clock management and you name it. To that end, Danielle comes in. She says, I blame Sean Payton and VJ for last night. Trevor, how much do you blame the coaching? How much do you blame the players on a loss like this?
Yeah, I mean, both. It's on the coaches to have come up with a good game plan, from the start of the game, and they have all week to prepare for this. I know it was a shorter week, obviously, with the Broncos. This is why I wasn't on the side of pushing this game up. The Broncos had a chance to kind of decline that offer and just push it on into Sunday. I don't think it turned out a very good decision moving the
Mm.
game up to Thursday night, but we can get into that maybe a little bit later. But yeah, I mean, I think it's on the coaches. I think it's on the players. The players have to go out there and execute, and they just didn't. They didn't do a very good job of doing that. Again, offensively, you were moving the ball. I thought the offense was looking promising in the first half. Defensively, it just you didn't have it from the start. McConkey was just getting free at will, and you weren't getting enough pressure on Herbert, like you said, Keith. They weren't playing man enough, and it seemed like VJ tried to adjust to that a little bit, bringing a little bit more extra pressure in the second half, like you said, but it was too little too late. You have to do that earlier in the game, make those adjustments maybe after the first drive of Justin Herbert. So it's on everybody. It really isn't just on one person. I know Sean Payton's going to get a lot of the blame here, and I'm with everybody on that, but man, there's a lot of blame go around from everybody. It was a total team loss.
It is. It is disappointing. I think Kenny kind of puts it together. He's putting a little spin of optimism on it. Kenny Kirkpatrick of the amazing K&K Sports Show. Kenny, hello, sir. And hope you're having a great Christmas holiday season. Those guys do amazing podcasts. Check out the K&K Sports Show. But he says, good evening, Keith and Trevor. It's a tough, disappointing loss because this is becoming a top rivalry before our eyes. 2 vet coaches, 2 top defenses, 2 young QBs from Oregon. Enjoy this rivalry in the future, everybody. He's liking what he's seeing from an outside perspective of, that rivalry coming around, the competitiveness. The AFC West has been kind of ruled, unfortunately, by one team and one team only. Now we're starting to see some feistiness from the Chargers, from the Broncos. We're talking about 3 AFC West teams possibly being in the playoffs if things play out the way most people think they will. That's pretty good representation of this rivalry in the future for everyone to look forward to. And I guess I could look a little bit of positivity into that. Graham's coming in and says, we've been through years of misery. We'll be fine in the long term. Paul saying, I lost it, but I gathered myself later that night. Well, yeah, get yourself together, Paul. Don't let sports, rule your life completely. I just put it that way, man. Don't get me wrong. It's got a big, strong, claws and tangle hold on me, podcasting and making sure that I'm up to date on my Broncos and involved all the time, man. But got to be able to separate sometimes. Pearl's running late, but she's just in time because she's here, and we love every single one of you in the posse. And Patrick coming in, dropping stars, helping us out over here, and maybe helping himself out. Aloha, my boys, giving us those coffee emojis, because if you don't know, Lion Coffee is the most amazing coffee company I've ever ran across. And my wife just told me tonight, I can't believe how much coffee you drink, Keith. So, yeah, I put it down, I put it back, and Lion Coffee is absolutely amazing, stupendous. Lioncoffee.com. It's lioncoffee.com. But he's getting entered with some stars and RMSN win. Thank you very much, Patrick. You are entered for possibly that PS2 jersey. I think that's what everyone's waiting on. Let's see what else we got going on, man. Like I said, got Outlaw Bill coming in over on YouTube. This is a brand new name, and he says, hello, new friends. And well, hello to you, Outlaw Bill. Glad to have you in here. And howdy, mister, says our good friend in the posse. By the way, Outlaw Bill, you're now part of the posse in here, dropping some comments and talking some Broncos. Young Tyrone Broncos going to beat the Cincinnati, and then the Chiefs are going to play the rest. Let's see. Broncos are going to beat Cincinnati. Chiefs are going to rest their starters. What do you? You've been strong on this, Trevor. I know that we're kind of getting ahead of the game a little bit. We'll have a Friday breakdown of this Cincinnati Bengals game. I know everyone's ready to move on from this Chargers loss and get on to maybe greener pastures, man. But you've been pretty optimistic about this matchup, man. Give us just a glimpse of what we'll be looking at on Friday and why you think this is going to be a good matchup for the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, I mean, it's as great as Joe Burrow and that offense is, with Jamar Chase. I've seen the Bengals play multiple times this year, on film and whatnot, and their offensive line, I mean, it's not good. I mean, it's just really not. And I think this is a great game for defense, the Broncos defensive line and their edge rushers and VJ just to get after Burrow a little bit. They're just when you don't have it up front, you don't win your matchups up front. It's a long day for the offensive side of the ball. And then again on the Bengals defensively, that they're not very good either. So it's just this is why this team is really not in the playoffs. It's because their defense. I mean, Burrow and Chase are could both be MVP in the MVP conversation, and it's just they just don't have it when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. So I think that this matchup plays in Denver's favor a little bit more. I'm not going to sit here and say whether it's a win yet or not. I got to look into it a little bit more, but I've encouraged the matchup for the Broncos. I think this is a good matchup to have. If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And Burrow is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He's elite. He does things very well. You cannot sit back and zone against Joe Burrow. I mean, you see what Justin Herbert did to you last night. Imagine what Joe Burrow would do to you if you just sit in zone all day. So hopefully you'll have Riley Moss back for this game too. You can kind of get back to what this defense does and the strengths of this defense. And offensively, I think another game for Sean Payton, hopefully to get that run game going. But I don't know at this point in time. I think we might be wishful thinking and just try to kind of move the ball. But there's certain matchups that I like for Denver going into Cincinnati to be able to beat that team. And you've shown throughout the season in Tampa Bay, earlier in the season, you can go and beat good teams on the road. So looking forward to the matchups going forward. Let's see how Cincinnati plays this weekend. I encourage Bronco fans, if you're able to watch Cincinnati this weekend, and then we can, on Tuesday and next week, we can kind of, and Tuesday and Friday and next week, we can, focus in on Cincinnati and, have a deeper discussion about them as a team.
Just like our one of our horsemen is coming in. Jody can't be here on the screen, but he's in there on the comments. He's saying 100% focus on the Bengals at this point. This is the thing, man. I heard you talking. It's like, hey, we can't play zone versus Joe Burrow. No, we can't play zone. We can't play zone. I can't remember when we've went out and that's been able to be a positive for our defense. I can't think of one game where we went out there and went, man, that zone defense shut them down. I mean, are we going to be happy with the Cleveland Brown game? Because we played zone and we were able to get a lot of turnovers in that game? Because the rest of it didn't look good with Jerry Jeudy run all over us. I mean, it just doesn't work with this. And I don't understand it. I'd rather take the consequences of whoever's out. Right now, we've been talking about Riley Moss. There was fear at one point that we wouldn't even see PS2 this last week at one point. I don't care who's missing, Trevor. It just doesn't. I don't understand why we do it. It's just like a big flag to the whatever opposing offense is out there. It's like, hey, man, pick us apart. Pick us apart. The only saving grace that you brought up is how bad their offensive line is. That's the only saving grace. You might be able to, if heaven forbid, we run out there with our zone defense that we've been likening as of late. That's our only saving grace, that we'll still get through that sieve of an offensive line and rough up Joe Burrow to the point that he can't get the ball out. He's not in time. He's not in rhythm. He's getting things batted down. He's on the ground. That'd be the saving grace, man. But otherwise, I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't want to see it anymore, Trevor. I'd rather live with the consequences on the other side of that, man.
And also, you don't want to get into a scoring match with Cincinnati. So the Broncos defense has no choice. They have to step up if you're going to win that game. This Broncos offense isn't built to sit there and have scoring matches back and forth between Joe Burrow and arguably a MVP candidate. If this team had a better record, they can't do that. So the Broncos defense, they have to, and there's no excuses for it. You have a longer period of time now to get ready for the Bengals. This is why you flex that game up against the Chargers. Even though I'm not a big fan of that, you have more time to attack the Bengals and really come up with a game plan that will work. And I know it's NFL, it's a long season, but you're playing for your playoffs and a chance to go back to the playoffs. And so that you have a little bit more opportunity to watch them this weekend, and I'm sure the coaching staff, the players will, and then you'll be able to adjust more so going forward. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that this defense has no choice to step up. You have to. They've been pretty. I mean, they've stepped up to the plate for the most part all season. There's been some lapses, of course, but I think they're definitely capable of it. And that's one of those revenge games. Hey, we didn't play well this last week at all. Now it's time to get that back this week against Joe Burrow. Let's go show people this defense is a top 5 defense, truly. And against no matter what quarterback you're playing, you're playing a top 3 quarterback probably in the NFL right now. So go out there and prove that and help our offense out. And so we're not getting into that scoring battle offensively.
Yeah, absolutely. Since I was rolling through these comments, talking with the posse, or at least sifting through the posse's comments, throwing them up on the screen like I always do, man. I was thinking, since we have Outlaw Bill in here and Young Tyrone, just a quick reminder, man, we're giving away a signed PS2 jersey. What you need to do is follow our Rocky Mountain Sports Network page, whether it be on YouTube or on Facebook, and then just type in RMSN wins and you're entered. If you're over on Facebook, you drop 100 stars, you get 3 entries. So that's what we got going on. I just thought about that when we were sitting here looking at some of these new names that just all of a sudden popped up here in the chat. Didn't want them missing out. Want to get all the entries in we possibly can. Like Phil's making sure he's entered. I got to scroll through all these comments. I had to do this off to the side, check out who's dropping stars along with it. My guess is Phil's dropping 100 stars, which he just did. He says, why did we get away from the run game? VJ and Peyton both need to take the blame for this loss. Trevor, my thought, I put it out there. I felt like Sean almost felt like he said, see, I proved it. We do have a run game in the first half, and then just decided to do whatever was on the opposite of that page that said run the ball. That he was always looking at the other side. That's what he was doing. Why do we get away from the run game, man? Can you put any understanding around why we got away from it? Because it didn't seem like it was looking bad. And do you think that VJ and Peyton both need to take a little bit of blame in this loss?
Yeah, Phil, I think that, again, thank you for the stars and support as always. VJ and Sean Payton, absolutely, they both deserve some blame for this. I think everybody has kind of their hand in the cookie jar and are to blame for this game, including the players. But, yeah, I mean, I think, I don't understand what's going on with Sean Payton in this run game. I think, honestly, without, being kind of a fly on the wall, I would say just when the runs, when the running game is not there and you're not able to get 5-6 yards, I think he just really gets concerned. I don't think he's got a ton of confidence in this running back room right now, and he gets concerned and then he goes away from it and thinks our passing game is our strength offensively. We got to start passing the ball around because we don't have a good enough run game to keep up. And I think that he goes away from it too soon before you're able to kind of maybe break the ice a little bit when the defenses adjust to kind of start stacking the boxes a little bit, and the run game's not working for you. You have to stick to it to break that ice to get through it, and so that you do have a run game, because in the NFL you can't be one-dimensional. And I think that's where the Broncos are at right now. I don't believe the confidence is totally there 100% into this running back room from Sean Payton. That's why I think he gets away from it. And this running back room and this running game in total, it's not just been a problem this year. It's been a problem last year too. So since Sean Payton's been here in Denver, this run game hasn't really been good. The Cleveland Browns game last year was encouraging. Was probably the best game that I've ever seen this team run the football. Other than that, it's been hit or miss, to be honest.
Yeah, it has been. But like I said, I think in order to have a disappointment level like I did, I had to be feeling as good as I did about what I saw on the field. And what I saw on the field was starting with Audric Estime coming out there and plowing the ball. And then all of a sudden Javonte comes out there and he kicks one off. And the next thing you know, Blake Watson's out there and he's got one going. Marvin Mims gets in the action, even as a running back. He's looking good. I mean, we pretty much marched down the field, old school football style, in that first series, and it was amazing. And I didn't see the adjustments from the Chargers. Like I said, for me, it felt like it was just a Sean feeling like he kind of had things in the bag a little bit, wanted to kind of flex a different muscle. Um, one could say he's out there and he's saying, you know what? I do got to make sure that our passing game is still going and involved and, ready to go. Can't have sit him on a shelf for too long, before we head off and, take on Cincinnati. Whatever it happens to be, but man, it kicked our butt. And Vance Joseph and Sean Payton, I would say, I asked you a little bit earlier, man. Is it players? Is it coaching? If I had a weighted scale, this has to go more on the coaching. The preparation didn't necessarily look good defensively. If that's what you're going to be doing, we have to tighten up that zone. We can't have Lad McConkey or Jerry Jeudy or you name the wide receiver just running wide open. I don't care what linebacker, what corner, what safety has to come over and help out and push up and basically double a guy as he comes through that area. Whatever it is, that's preparation. That's what we got to do. That's where we know we have a weakness. It might open up a weakness someplace else, but heaven forbid we can't have that happening. So bad preparation. And then I think for me, it was just Sean Payton and what he decided to do, what he decided to get away from. I do got to say, because we have a lot of people, even like Outlaw Bill coming in here. Hopefully he's getting entered in our contest. RMSN wins for that signed PS2 jersey. Will get sent out. He says, I'm happy about the Denver Broncos ball team. They have been so exciting to watch this season. Lots of room for improvement and growth. And that's kind of what I saw, Trevor. I saw a little improvement and growth in that running game. Had me all elated, man. Had me all excited about what this team looked like they were destined to do in this game. And then, of all things, it starts falling apart with a punt with an interference call and a and a free kick, field goal for the first time in 50 years or whatever it was. I mean, Trevor, if that wasn't a signal of things to come, I know that Danielle is in here super, super, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Very coming down on this coaching staff in a way that has some questions and is kind of roughing them up a little bit. But I think she brings up a legitimate points. Do you think at any point Sean Payton started to lose his team a little bit in the second half? Do you think VJ was starting to lose his team at any point in the second half? I don't think this team has been through so much, Trevor, and I think they have a strong nucleus. But when things start falling apart and you're looking at your leader, did they lose a little bit in the eyes of their players last night? Not that they couldn't regain it this week.
I wouldn't say lose these players. I think these players are competing at a high level. I will say I'm a little concerned that fatigue kind of started playing into this a little bit because Bo Nix kind of spoke to it. Not just kind of, he just did speak to the media about it. He said, quote, a 3-day break this week was tough. And that's one of my worries about, flexing games this late into the season. Everybody's banged up. You're starting to get less rest coming into a big, important game. Coaches, I know that, and Sean Payton gets excited about primetime, football. I understand that, fans as well. But you got to think about it from their players' perspective. These guys give it their all season. You are now late in the season, 2 games left, 3 games before this Chargers game, and it's a short week. It's not ideal. It's not ideal for these players. And these guys, they just came off a hard-fought win against the Colts on Sunday. They had to turn around. You had a couple days to kind of rest, and you're right back at it again. Oh, by the way, the mile-high air, it's a little bit more difficult in that altitude to get back to being healthy again. It takes a little bit longer. So I do think, and I do wonder if fatigue set in just a little bit in this game, just because it was a short week.
Yeah, I said at the very when this first happened, I liked the idea of it. Coming off the bye week, maybe having been already a little healthy, getting more prepared for the playoffs, and having a little bit more rest going into these final couple of games. That also wasn't underneath the mindset, as I predicted, that we would be winning versus the Chargers, kind of taking a little off our plate, a little stress, and knowing that we're already in the game, in the dance, and maybe not really being able to move our playoff position all that much. But totally different position now. Totally different position. I got to get to one more comment. Then I got to get to a sponsor that's a little overdue for when we usually do it in our show. But Phil McLaughlin's coming in and saying, why do you guys think we hardly ever throw deep? Bo throws 40 plus yards. How many more than 20 yards? RMSN wins. He's also entered in that contest. I'll just flash it up here real quick as I throw other stuff on the ground. Patrick Surtain signed jersey, everybody. RMSN wins gets you entered. If you're following any Rocky Mountain Sports Network page, YouTube or Facebook, you drop 100 stars like Phil, and he just got 3. But why don't they talked about it during the broadcast, Trevor? Our yards, our yard average when it comes to how deep Bo Nix was throwing, especially last night, nothing to be impressed, and certainly wasn't airing it out down the sidelines. Not even to Troy Franklin. Why aren't we seeing any deep balls, especially last night? We hardly saw anything.
Yeah. I mean, you hardly seen anything, I think, all game. And, I think it's the Chargers defense, the way they were playing. But Phil, to your point, Bo Nix did have a deep shot to Marvin Mims downfield. That would have changed this game big time. He hits Marvin Mims in stride. That's a touchdown. And that's got to be a throw that Bo Nix, makes at the NFL level. And that's the throw that you have to make as an NFL quarterback in total at the NFL level. So I think that, there's some times where in some games we're going to see Bo Nix not throw the deep ball as much. He's got to get a little bit more accurate with that going forward. We've seen it multiple times this year where, he's hit a couple. I'm not going to lie. There's a couple that he's missed on, and those ends up being big time throws, so that could be touchdowns. So I just would love to see Bo Nix just being able just to kind of lay that into Marvin Mims, let him run a little bit, under. He's got the speed. He's out in front of this guy. And I know that the DPI was supposed to be called. It was a defensive pass interference. I get that. The refs were a little shaky all night, in my opinion. But if that ball is thrown out in front of Marvin Mims, that's a touchdown. And that's where I'm saying, you can – I don't want to sit here and continue to blame the refs and the penalties all the time. And how they were calling the game, because you could have, avoided that if that ball's out in front of him. So to answer your question, Phil, I mean, we're just not going to see all the time. Defenses will adjust to that. But I do think we've seen Bo Nix, throw the deep ball a couple times in this game. And that one to Marvin Mims really sticks out to me as a ball that should have been thrown on target and wasn't. And it cost you a touchdown, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. There are opportunities. We seem to take them. That's one thing that you talked about, some of the footwork maybe that needs to be maybe cleaned up a little bit in the offseason. Would like to see a little bit better deep ball production. We started off with the season where we were out of bounds, nowhere near the receiver. Now we're having issues trying to really get it on target, on time, whichever way you want to look at it. You get the ball out quicker, it's on them, in stride. You lead it further out, better on target. That's a touchdown. And it's a place that I think that Bo Nix can continue to grow. Rookie quarterback. I'll go back to whether it was Kenny Kirkpatrick that came in here, saying, hey, he's looking forward to everything that is to come, or Outlaw Bill, who said he's been a fan since '77. So he's seen some rough times that some of us haven't seen. Plus, he's been through the recent rough times, and he's excited about what this team has in front of them. What I'm excited about, man, is Morgan Trinkets. Morgan Trinkets is your headquarters for Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, and Estate Gold at wholesale prices. They were once nationwide, selling it all over the place, but now they're just in your backyard. Northern Colorado, Southern Wyoming, doing shows all summer long, but also where you can always find them is over on Etsy. You type in Morgan Trinkets Co. That's Morgan Trinkets Co. And now you have access to everything that Morgan Trinkets has to offer. You get access to the wonderful Pearl. And I'll tell you what, Pearl has told me twice now that I can count, that this year she's had a record show. She's been doing shows all winter. She did them all summer. Check out Morgan Trinkets. Again, all your Southwest jewelry, all your Southwest pottery, estate gold at wholesale prices, 10, 14, 18 karat gold, silver as well, 100% sterling silver. You got to check that out. Free shipping on any order over $50. Got to check that out. All major credit cards accepted at the shows. And I had to get the details of exactly what's accepted over on Etsy as well. So if you want, go ahead and drop that in the comments, Pearl, so I know, because we didn't get those details. But check out Morgan Trinkets. Again, fantastic sponsor and been fantastic to all of our followers who have purchased them in the posse. Go Pearl, go Morgan Trinkets. Check out Morgan Trinkets, Morgan Trinkets Co. on Etsy today or tonight or tomorrow. They're there all the time. That's the nice thing about the internet. Whenever you're hearing this, you can head on over to Morgan Trinkets at Morgan Trinkets Co. on Etsy. It's kind of a where do you go from here, Trevor? I'm trying to scroll through all the amazing comments that you guys are getting to. No shows till late January, tells me Pearl. Thank you, Pearl. I appreciate that. Email me at morgantrinkets@yahoo.com. That's another great way that you can get a hold of Pearl. She's letting us know that as well. I'm going to keep that up on the screen, and you guys can check that out. Turning the page, man. What lessons learned? Do you feel like we have some lessons learned? Do you feel like we have any new directions? I'm going to just point out the running game. Do you think we have a new direction now for the running game after this game? You got to learn from your losses, Trevor. And I'm trying to parse through what we learned, what we can take forward, what needs to get better as we get ready for this Saturday matchup, Saturday football for the Denver Broncos and the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, for me, it's the penalties. I mean, that's why I say there's
multiple. Good call.
There's multiple, things to learn and takeaways to kind of learn from this game. And there's this reason I point the penalties out is you have 7 penalties for 61 yards. The Chargers had 2 penalties for 8 yards. I mean, talk about the penalties being an issue. And I went back and watched the game. Obviously, both sides of the ball just inexcusable penalties, false starts. We had the Justin Sternad hit. That's a tough one, honestly. I've seen that around the league and around the NFL a couple times this year. It's tough when the quarterback's sliding a little bit late, and the defender you're taught to kind of back off now because the quarterback, protecting the quarterback in the NFL. But it's tough as a defender. I understand then Justin will learn. He'll get better for that going forward. But the penalties, I mean, that's just one thing where, man, you have a scoring, you have a drive that you're moving the football, and there's just a penalty that just really is kind of a drive killer. Offensive, you're just getting off the ball too early defensively, like Zach Allen did a couple times. So just the penalties have to be better. They have to clean it up a little bit more, and that's for me a concern. It's been a little bit of a concern, but it's been kind of thrown underneath the rug a little bit this year because the Broncos have been winning, and there's been other things to talk about. But the penalties, they've got to be cleaner with that, and you cannot sit there and again shoot yourself in the foot with the penalties like you did last night's game.
Yeah, I'll agree with that, man. I'll agree with that. The penalties, like everything, just seemed like everything came at the wrong time. When things started falling apart, it's like, oh, it's 3rd and long. It looks like we're going to get a 4th down. No, it's 1st down. You know what I mean? Every single penalty seemed like it was a drive extender. It was so meaningful in the moment of that portion of the game. It just kept the momentum building and building and swinging and swinging. And it was just one of those games that started to spiral. I really felt like it started to spiral on this team. And defensively, I think you definitely started to see that kind of unraveling. Kind of, just playing outside yourself, not playing within your game, not doing what that needs to be done. We've don't get to have a lot of fun sometimes when we're coming off a loss, but we've had the stepfather come in and have a ton of fun on this show. So I got to get this comment, man. And I think this would be a good one for everyone to answer. As again, anybody who isn't entered, I'm just shocked. I haven't seen as many of these as I expected. From Bighorn Autographs, you can kind of see it right inside the packaging if you look. Maybe not that great. This is a Patrick Surtain signed jersey. We're giving it away. You type in RMSN wins, and you just make sure that you're following either on the Facebook or YouTube page, and that's it. You're entered to go. We also have a John Elway figurine and a 2023 autographed memorabilia piece that we're going to give away. So really, there's 3 winners. You can't lose if you're one of those 3 winners. That's all you got to do. But his question, he says, fun Christmas question for everyone. Great way to start kind of rounding out this podcast, I think, Trevor. Give me a current and former Broncos player jersey you want under your tree this year. Trevor, the easiest one I'll let you choose it, man. I'm going to let you choose first, former or current, and tell me which player you would want under your tree for that category. We'll go back around to the other one as well.
Yeah, that's a tough question. I think current Bronco right now for me is PS2, Pastor Tan. There's a reason, in our intro, he's, the player that pops up in my, under my name, right behind my name, I should say. I love PS2. I think he's the best corner in the NFL. The Broncos did right by him by paying him that big contract. He deserves it. He's a difference maker, and still, I know what Nick Nito is definitely rising up that list a little bit, but PS2 is still the best player on defense for Denver. So PS2 currently, that would be the jersey I would choose to put underneath my Christmas tree if I could choose. Former player. That's
hold that one. Hold that one.
Yeah.
I'll let you think on that one. Okay, man. I'm going to run through some of these and I'll get there because some of these are doing both. Phil McLaughlin, his current one would be a PS2, entered to win with that RMSN wins to get a signed one. I don't know how much you want to wear that around necessarily. Former for him would be Floyd Little. Pearl's coming in, Bo Nix, as expected. I would kind of expect something like that. Karen's coming in. She wants a Terrell Davis one. Ernie Mays, current for him would be Bo Nix. His former would be a Steve Atwater. Sutton should be in Denver for another 4 years regardless. I like that, Paul. Not necessarily what we're talking about jerseys. That's okay. I thought for a second, I was like, oh, he's talking about maybe a Sutton jersey. So I want to throw that up there. Current for me, for the first time ever in my life, I actually bought a jersey this year, and I got the PS2 jersey. So I kind of checked one off for the current, but if I had to go another current, I would go Bo Nix because I was really perplexed on which way I wanted to go there. Beginning of the year, not knowing, like I told you, Trevor, it's a 50-50 shot with your first round quarterback. Who knows what's happening with Caleb Williams? Michael Penix, we're going to get to find out. Jaden's looking pretty good. It's, there's some 50-50s out there, so we'll see how I know how it's working out for us. It looks like so far. It looks like I could have invested in a Bo Nix jersey now that in retrospect, but I like one underneath the tree as it is right now. Trevor, I've given you some time. Maybe the posse is giving you a few ideas. What are your thoughts on a former? And really quick, I'll get a few more in here. Patrick, Rich Carless. I like that, man. That's a surprising one to me, Mr. Wiltsey. I like that. And Quentin M. Quinn Miners. I bet he's saying Quinn Miners currently. Ernie has that Terrell Davis. Scott's wanting the Champ Bailey. Oh,
That's a good one.
Yeah, is a good one, man. I have two, says Karen. Drew Lock, Von Miller, Elway and Plummer, and McCaffrey jerseys. Scott saying the current would be a PS2 for him as well. Scott is entered. I see his name over here on the side over on YouTube. So, Trevor, what are your thoughts on that former Denver Bronco? What are you thinking, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would be perplexed if I didn't, want a John Elway jersey underneath my tree. What he's done just as a player and as an executive has been huge. I mean, he really has and is the face of the franchise for the Broncos. I mean, honestly, if you go back, just what he's done, the impact he's made on this organization as a player, winning 2 Super Bowls, and then coming back and bringing in arguably the best signing that we've ever seen as the Broncos ever make, Peyton Manning, and bringing him to Denver. So it's got to be Mr. John Elway for me. I mean, again, there's a reason he's on my wall, and you guys can see the Sports Illustrated sign there. John Elway. Yeah, I couldn't. I don't think I could really pick against that. Some honorable ones, Demarius Thomas as well. I really love DT and everything he brought to Denver, and may he rest in peace. But I love me some DT. I can't go against number 7 and John Elway.
That's fair, man. Can't the Duke. I mean, man. I wish you could have been there, Trevor, on my fuzzy TV. Terrible reception sometimes. Watching John Elway do what he did live, and it as in person as possible that I would ever have over on my 25-inch television as a little kid. John Elway got it done. Ernie Mays has 2 of them. Manning would be a good one to have, and DT. You know what? A little call out because at some point I would like to have him back on the show. And since he was so fantastic, how about Howard Griffith for me, man? I would like a Howard Griffith, man. We had that fantastic episode. Howard Griffith came on here. He is a busy man. He's over there really busy right now since he's over there, doing all the Big Ten network, sideline reporting, in studio reporting, you name it. Howard Griffith, former Bronco and former co-creator of the Mile High Salute. Don't forget about that as well, man. That running back room was where it came out of, and Terrell Davis wasn't the only one. It was Howard Griffith that was right alongside him. Howard Griffith, as great a guy as he was, as great of a guy as he was to us, I would take one of those underneath the tray any day of the week, Trevor, man. Yeah. Can't wait to get him back on here. I did reach out, but like I said, he's super, super busy this time of year. We're talking about championship college football right now. So, wow, look at these names coming out. Frank Trupica, anybody up for that one? That would be a good one. Some Ed McCaffrey's coming around. Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Rod Smith. You guys are just like naming out off all our favorite Denver Broncos players from days gone by. Thanks a lot, Kenny. Kenny is fantastic. He comes up with amazing segments and great little talking points, gets us off topic, and gets us reminiscing and thinking about all those winning Denver Broncos teams, those winning ways. And Broncos country, I think we're back on that stretch. I think we're heading back in that direction. Trevor is very, very, bold, dare I say, about what we have going on as we take on the Cincinnati Bengals just right around the corner. We're going to be taking on that Cincinnati Bengals team, and Trevor's feeling good about him. He's feeling good about this matchup, man. We get one more win. We're all locked up. We're talking playoff football again for the Denver Broncos. Probably not necessarily too many mile-high games this year and this go-around, but that being said, man, playoff football, man. Got to get it done. Trevor, it's been a fantastic episode, man, but and names are going still here, going through Von Miller, the good old days. But we do got to wrap it up. We do got to get out of here. Let's get some final thoughts in. Let's get out of here, and then we'll be catching up with everybody on Friday, talking some more football.
Yeah. So
Or Tuesday. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Friday, Tuesday, Friday, Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yeah. So again, there's an interesting stat that I want to leave everybody with going into the weekend. This is when it comes to the Bengals offensive line. We just spoke about their offensive line earlier, said it's not very good. ESPN puts out a metric, pass block win rate. The Cincinnati Bengals rank 29th in the NFL. Run block win rate, they're 32nd in the NFL. Talk about an offensive line that, if you're the Broncos and you are looking to get after Joe Burrow or stop, the run game and have a bounce back performance. I mean, it looks pretty encouraging right now. So with that, I wanted to leave everybody with that going forward, a little bit of positivity as we look forward to the Cincinnati Bengals game. I know last night's game against the Chargers wasn't a game that anybody wanted, not even me. I know, Ernie, I see you out there. I wanted the Broncos to win. It was a tough matchup, but there's always sun, there's always light in the tunnel somewhere, and I think this is a Broncos team that's still very much so, can definitely get to that, where they want to be in the playoffs. You want to be in the playoffs. They still have 2 games going forward that they can absolutely get there with. I fully believe that. But again, fully believe in our posse. Everybody, thank you for everything you guys do. The support is amazing. You guys are amazing. Seen a few names in here tonight. We really appreciate you guys for everything that you do. Again, we can agree to disagree on a couple things, and that's fine. But you guys really, are respectful about it, and we really appreciate that. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Thank you for the support, as always, the star senders, everybody in the comments, just, for commenting your questions. We're talking about Christmas. Tuesday would be our Christmas episode, I believe, since Christmas is next week. But again, appreciate everybody. And, happy holidays to everybody and their family. Stay safe out there. Stay warm. And hope everybody has a great weekend. As always, go Broncos.
Absolutely, man. As always, go Broncos. Trevor, we have a fantastic posse. We've had a fantastic show. We've had a lot of fun tonight, as I'll get to one of Phil's comments. But you brought it up. Scott brought it up, and I didn't think about it. Tuesday is Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And I feel like almost he's saying, are you seriously planning on doing a podcast? That's a great question, man. I've been running with my hair on fire. That being said, I didn't even think about that. We do need to talk about that. I don't know if we will, but the one way that you don't even have to worry about that, how? If you're subscribing, if you're following, liking, sharing, doing all that fantastic stuff that has maybe gotten you in front of us, I guess you could say, that maybe brought you along and someone said something and maybe all those subscribes, rocketed us up one day on YouTube, and you saw us and you clicked on us and you're over here. We appreciate you so much. If you're subscribing to our channels, you'll always know when we're going live. I'm going to say that we might not be going live on Christmas Eve. I don't think I'm going to put any of my co-hosts through that necessarily, but hey, you never know. And you never know, we're going to have, again, just a surprise podcast go out, something big happens. I don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. We'll be talking about it. So, hey, like, share, subscribe. We appreciate that so much. We've grown tremendously, and it's the reason that we do things like this. That Patrick Surtain signed jersey, I grabbed it out of the bag so you could get a good look at it there. We're giving away. I'll be tallying up RMSN wins, gets you entered. RMSN wins with 100 stars over on Facebook, gets you 3 entries. Phil McLaughlin, he got a few more entries, dropping some stars, saying great fun tonight. Thank you. RMSN wins. Phil, thank you so much. Phil, not just Phil, everybody. Albert, the only horseman I didn't mention, usually runs through and says thank you to everybody and keeps a list of everyone's names. All I got to say is I don't know if we have time for that. And I certainly didn't write down the names like Albert did, but Merry Christmas to everybody. It's been a fantastic year going Christmas to Christmas with you. It's always a present as the posse continues to get bigger. We get in here having a fantastic time. I get to hang out with my good friend Trevor, the Rocket Man Salzman, Jody, the Judge Moncrief, Albert Mile High, Dutchy. I get to hang out with all of you. I get to come in here and hang out with Kenny Kirkpatrick and Pearl and Karen as we're just wrapping up some names, and Phil and Michael Ronquillo is not in here tonight, but is always usually rocking. We got Not So Smart Raiders fan, that was in here rocking with us, wondering if he's in the wrong place. Merry Christmas, Not So Smart Raiders fan. Everyone, we appreciate you all so very much. Hope you have a fantastic holiday, Christmas, safe and happy, lots of love. Can't wait to get back on here, be rocking with you guys all again. But we get out of here one way and one way only. By the way, check out Morgan Trinkets if you get a chance over at Etsy, Morgan Trinkets Co. But we get out of here one way and one way only, Broncos country. Keep your feet, those boots right there in the stirrups. Keep your guns in your holsters. And as always, keep the Denver Broncos in your heart. Until we see you next time, have a great night. Have a great week. And Merry Christmas, everyone. Good night.